The fourth concept that we will discuss is our layout style. And really, there's two different types of layout styles that we can make when we're doing our mapping projects. One is what's known as the compartmentalized design, and the other is known as the fluid design. Um, so the compartmentalized design, what this is really is it lays out different elements into distinct separate containers, right? And so when we have our map layout up on our screen, and we might say we want our legend and our north arrow, maybe a text box that provides some contextual background information. Each of those elements would be in their own little square, segmented off compartmental container, right? And that really kind of separates those pieces from the rest of the map and puts them in distinct elements. So if we look at a map like this, for example, this cube of maritime zones and limits, we have our bar chart here, we have our legend, our locator map, some explanatory text, some credits, all those are in different compartments. Whereas a fluid design integrates those different map elements together and they kind of flow throughout the map and you space them out with a very intentional set of alignment, spacing, styling techniques. And this, improves flow, improves readability, but you have to be careful because sometimes you do have long pieces of information that are better suited in compartments or in, contained places where you can read them easily. Or you might have very noisy background information that you need to have dedicated space to have your legend information. So it really kind of depends on the complexity of your map, the noisiness or the clutteriness of your background geographic elements. Different factors like that. So really when you're thinking about that, you're saying like, I need to use this compartment for a particular reason, right? And then do so with intentionality. If you don't need to use compartments, my general rule is like, how can I make this a fluid design so therefore it's a little bit more flowing, a little bit more readable, a little bit more inviting. Here's an example of a fluid design using that same geographic area. We can see that our bar chart, our legend, our explanatory text, our locator globe are all kind of integrated within this this layout. We use a kind of a vignette outline here to provide a little bit of white space so these elements can sit a little bit easier than if they were just in different compartments. And map purpose really dictates a lot of this. So if you have a map, for instance, this is a trails map of Yellowstone. This might have very specific information about different things you might encounter on the trail, dangers, abilities, wildlife. There could be all sorts of contextual information that you would want to provide your map reader, in this case, a hiker of this area, about things that could be for safety, for orientation, for expectations, for skill level, things like that you might really want to have these kind of long bodies of text in dedicated containers. So you maximize readability, you call attention to it so that the map reader knows that that's like something that intuitively and cognitively that they should look at. But it does create a more of a blocky, segmented, less fluid design or less flowing design. Whereas if you do a more of a fluid map design, like this one here, your locator map, your area of interest, all these things are kind of pieced together and using spacing and using different page dimensionalities and alignment and balance to create nice flowing designs that allows the map reader to really maximize the experience with the map and kind of move through it at their own pace, their own cadence, their own pathways, and learn in a more intuitive way. Whereas with a map like this, you're kind of like dictating what the map reader will look at and almost the order and the directionality of that by using these different containers. With a fluid design, you're saying this design's kind of so well put together. I trust that the reader will kind of move through it naturally with the kind of flow of the elements, how I place them. So two different types of design: compartmental, fluid.